Welcome back to Shropshire Business Live TV, coming to you live today from the Yarrington studios here in Shrewsbury. There's a bit of a technology theme running through a lot of our chats today. Ask the expert regular, Nick Jones, is with us, and you've brought a friend who's going to be demonstrating something shortly, but tell all, Nick.
I found a friend, thank you. Yes, so Sean's joined us today. The St James's Place Academy was formed about 11 years ago now, because in the industry, in the UK financial services, there's a lack of young people coming into the profession, and lots of us that have been around for a while are getting older, and people are retiring, and people need advice more now than ever. So 11 years ago, that was rectified somewhat by bringing in younger people and less experienced people, second careerists that might be doing something else and then have a total change.
And that's a lot of people these days, isn't it?
It's a lot of people, yeah. Well, this year in the St James's Academy themselves, the intake is set to be 473 people from across the country into 3 different centres. But the programme itself has evolved over the years, and with COVID and the pandemic and things, embracing the technology a lot more now. But it's dramatically needed because people like us need a succession. We need people coming through.
So before the St James's Place Academy programme was in place then, how did it work? What happened before that?
There tended to be existing advisors that would be working for banks and building societies or independent financial advisors that would come across, and that was quite a steady stream, especially whilst the banks were relieving everybody of their jobs. It was a good time for recruiting good people to help to keep the St James's Place machine building and growing, and practices like ours growing. But as those people dry up, and there's only so many of them around, and then I think there's been a few big steps along the way. So when people had to do all the exams, that got rid of lots of people. There used to be over 200,000 people advising, believe it or not, and now we're, I think, over 27,000 across the UK in financial services, and over 4,700 of those are with St James's Place. So we've got a big proportion of advisors. We've got lots of clients to look after, and we've got lots of people that we want to make sure that the clients are looked after when the practice principals have retired.
So, Sean, welcome to the studio. Tell us a bit about you then, because you very much, this hasn't been your sector all your career either, has it? So.
Well, it has actually. To be fair, I've been a mortgage and protection advisor for 11 years now.
Right. Okay.
And it was funny that Nick said about 11 years. It pretty much played in like that, really. But yeah, I've worked for 2 major high street banks during that time. And then 4 years ago, Nick kindly invited me to join his practice. And he said, "Take a leap of faith, Sean, and come and join me." And it's been a fantastic project. Really enjoyed it, and really seeing Nick and the rest of the team has made me want to further my knowledge in financial advice further, really. As a result, I sat my extra financial exams, and I'm now at the captain's table with Nick now.
So you came in very much as a mortgage and protection specialist?
Yeah, so it was an area advice that Nick at the time didn't specialise in, but he wanted me to bring me in and help with his existing clients. But we ended up growing this mortgage division organically, and we've nurtured this ecosystem really, where we've engaged loads of different types of people from all different walks of life, and it's been a very successful project. Of course, the pandemic was horrible for so many reasons, but on the mortgage and protection front, it was an area where it really did boom, and we found that the mortgage division was growing from strength to strength. Conversely, with obviously the budget, which happened last year, the mortgage area sort of subsided for a little bit. And it gave me the chance to have some personal development time and sit back, take my exams, and yeah, this is where I am now on the SJP path, really.
How's that been then, going into that path and on this learning journey now?
It's been really good, and St James's Place has been great anyway, but the team at Throgmorton and Nick, they've been my biggest sponsors really, and having that support in the background has always been great. I've never ever felt really any pressure in the role that I have, and it's all about, it's very much a family basis where I work. So when the mortgage market did subside, I discussed with the director and said to them, look, this is my battle plan, this is what I want to become, and they got behind it because they knew that the long-term future is advice, and as Nick said with the SJP Academy, that's where we're looking to go.
And we mentioned that technology's got a bit of a theme through the show today.
We have.
So, on the Academy, we've got some images here of you getting stuck into the latest technology, which you'll see. What's going on here? Talk us through it. Why?
Well, I'm basically using something called an Oculus headset, and it's like being part of Tron, basically. It's like going back to 1982 and going in there. But yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
No, it's great. I mean, I'm an 80s kid as well. But it's Yeah, so it's the technology is fantastic because usually before you advise clients, you work in a safe environment to begin with when you get to know the role a bit more, and you tend to do role plays, but they can be very scripted. The great thing about this technology, it's very immersive, and there's a preloaded artificial intelligence where you interact with, and it's also about the body language of an interview as well. And it comes up at the end of the interview of how you've scored, but it gives you an opportunity where you can shake the client's hand. And as I said to you earlier, it's the AI says, come on in and take a seat. And the amount of times I've taken a seat and there's no actual chair there is a bit strange, really. But yeah, the beauty of St James Place Academy is they're constantly investing in the best technology going forward. And this is a great way for new advisors, especially people who may not have been given advice previous, gives them a safe environment to practice, but a more immersive one.
Because Nick, the use of technology in your sector has evolved massively, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And lots of processes that maybe would have just carried on as they were when offices were closed, when everyone was working remotely, when all of a sudden you had to have documents signed by somebody and you didn't actually necessarily you wouldn't be able to see them, and maybe the postal system wasn't as reliable as it was.
Physical signing.
Yeah. So now most of the stuff that we do, we have these DocuSign, and we use various means to actually get electronic captures of signatures that are still compliant, that still are law. They still are legal, and they're setting up contracts with people. But same with online payments. That's now accelerated mostly. We still collect new investment money by cheque, but it's got to be the minority now, really. A lot of people haven't even got a checkbook. I don't know. I won't ask you.
Definitely not. No, I haven't got one.
I've got one, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
actually,
right,
somewhere.
Yeah, last time you wrote a cheque, who knows? But some people still insist on that, and that's absolutely fine. So we can deal with it. But there's definitely a robust online system that works. And I think the Academy programme itself has morphed into the current version due to lockdowns and pandemics and things, but also it used to be very much a classroom based. So if you did the Solihull intake, you were in a classroom in Solihull, learning with your peers, and so exam study sections, or the role plays as Sean was talking about, that actually the client interaction side of things, and it was very much these are the number of weeks, that's where you're physically going to be there. Now it's a lot more of a hybrid, and they still get together in person, but there's a lot more self-learning and a lot more from home and virtual, and even online doing the role plays and things now, aren't you? He's got some tomorrow coming up, so but it's really great to get people prepared and get them up to speed. But there's some interesting people who've come through the academy as well, and other careers that they've been in. So they've been professional footballers or boxers or other businesses they might have run. It might be that they're returning to work after a career break due to having children. There's all kinds of people, and actually some are joining practices like ours with the support we can provide, and some have got that entrepreneurial spirit and they want to have a go at themselves. And we back that as well, actually. And if in the future they end up joining a practice, brilliant. If in the future they've got a practice the size of Throgmorton, then even better. There's no wrong way to do it, but it's just a great programme, and the resources gone into it, and the results of the great people that we see coming in is paying for itself, really.
So how long have you got on the programme, then where are you down the path?
I'm kind of probably at a halfway high stage now, if I'm honest with you. So I'm about to start something called a consolidation week, which basically means we're consolidating all the learning that we've had so far and basically take a breather, because it is an intensive process. There's another 5 to 6 weeks to go. I graduate on June the 12th, and yeah, I'm excited to get on the road, really, and and be with Nick and the rest of the team and helping people with their financial needs.
Has it surprised you what you've learnt and the way they've delivered a lot of this training?
Yeah, it's been good. So whenever I've worked in financial advice, the client has always been at the heart of everything that we've done, and that's a thread that's always followed me. So the St James Place Academy takes that to the next level, really. And even though I've been integrated with Nick's practice for 5 years, and I've heard conversations, because I've been so focused on the mortgage and protection area, I was surprised at all this extra information that I was able to soak up, really. So yeah, it's fantastic, and I've got an awful lot out of it and met some fantastic people.
Have you had a go at the headsets as well?
I did. We had a conference probably 18 months ago now, and I had a little play, and it's quite interesting. Yeah, and the things that you do naturally when you've been doing it for a while, it actually gets you to think about that, and going into a client's lounge and sitting down, and if you go straight into talking about work, or you build some rapport, or you have all those soft skills things that a lot of people have got naturally, and some people really have to think about.
You say that, but soft skills that people maybe used to take for granted years ago, not so much these days, is it?
Absolutely. And when Sean came in 4.5, 5 years ago now for the other role, it was actually the person that I employed. It wasn't for what he could do at that time, and I knew at a point in the future he'd be a great guy to have in the team giving advice. at the time only qualified for mortgages. And it's been a journey, as he says, we did really well on the mortgage side and helped lots of people. And now that's just extending that and really helping him to really fulfil his potential. And he's a young guy, you know, and he's got the time ahead of him. And by the time we're ready to hang up our boots, he'd be there ready and prepared as one of the
I was going to say, so it's a succession planning point of view. That's an important consideration as well.
Very much. Every business you talk to should be thinking about that sort of thing, isn't it? We talk about it all the time, and a lot of people don't take care of their own business, but we've very much got that focus because we want to be looking after clients and their families and their children and their grandchildren. And if we're just going to be retiring in 10 years, then who's there to do it? So we're growing our own, if you like.
First time I used an AR headset, I walked into a door frame, it frightened the life out of me, and I went over on my ankle, and I've always been a little bit nervous, but I've embraced it since.
Was it a virtual bar?
No, that's the sad thing. I could have used it as an excuse if it had been. So I mean, generally, we always sort of, when you come in every month, Nick, talk about, you know, what's happening, and there always seems to be a month's a long time in wealth management, isn't it?
Yeah, a week's a long time
in
wealth
management, isn't it? Yeah. So
yeah.
you know, where are we at the moment? We were talking last month about everybody saying inflation's peaked, it's all going to be coming down. We've seen some statistics; it doesn't appear to be that way, although people still think
it's sticking a bit longer. Yeah. So the forecasts of a lower interest rates and lower bank rates by the end of the year, hopefully lower, but maybe not as low as they were originally forecasted. Still, the purchases and the selling of businesses is really vibrant. I was talking to someone the other day that specialises in preparing businesses for sale, and he said he's never been so busy. There's 4 or 5 times the usual flow of deals going through. And for us, we offer a unique service where we look at the individuals who are controlling the businesses, the business owners and shareholders, but also look at the business itself and work with people like him to try and get the business in the best shape possible. But from the individual perspective, it's how much is enough? How much is the right figure that I can sell for? And if we've got this magic target of income we need, how much do we actually need to generate as a lump sum to be able to provide that? And we can look at both angles, which is quite good. And we've got some really interesting cases going through at the moment, and we're always very careful not to spill any beans. But we've got lots of people who are going to be really happy, but they're confident in the numbers because we've done the cash flow forecasts and we've proven that they'll be okay afterwards, and they haven't got to hang on for the extra 500,000 or something, because it doesn't really make a difference. So in negotiations, that's good for them to know they're in strength of power.
And Sean, from a mortgage point of view, then wearing your mortgage out, the housing market seems to, is it settled a bit?
Yeah, I mean, the Christmas period was scary. It really was for a lot of people. I was speaking with a lot of people who were scared where it was going to go. And then after the festive period, there did seem to be a recovery, really. And interest rates, as you said, have settled down. Where they're going to go, it's a crystal ball with any level of financial advice. But yeah, they do seem to have settled. And I have found that more people have been approaching the thought of buying a house again, whereas pre-Christmas it was all very much, we're just going to wait and see. But yeah, it's nice to start seeing people again come through the doors, and especially those first-time buyers trying to get on the ladder for the first time.
I bet there's quite a lot of job satisfaction in that side of it, isn't there? When you sort of
it is,
play your part in it.
Yeah. There's an enormous amount of job satisfaction when someone will call you and say that they've found their dream house, and then you sit down with them and you talk through their aspirations and you help them achieve that, and it is a really great feeling, and that's why, again, doing what Nick does, I want to continue in the role and keep delivering that.
Yeah, what's nice as well is that we across the range of clients we look after, we've got all of those little wins that keep us going and keep us fulfilled. I was chatting with a lady this morning who's been a client for a while now, pension-wise, and actually is looking at the future, needing X amount at X age. Am I on track? Well, actually, if we do this, we do some calculations and maybe change this and payment into that as well, maybe, and then the numbers fit, and it's like, actually, such a relief. She said, "Oh, I'm so pleased." And that's great. You know, you feed from that, and then you're looking forward to the next meeting and looking forward to making these things happen. And when someone's at that stage and they've actually retiring, or retirement is a funny thing now, isn't it? They're choosing whether they work for money or not. That's so empowering as well. And then they're the happiest clients you'll ever meet because they've got all the time, still got the health hopefully, and they're retiring 2 or 3 years earlier than the state tells them they're allowed to.
We love people that are happy in their work, don't we? So
Thank
you both for coming in.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with the
Cheers.
training, and you'll have to come back and tell us how it's all gone.
I will do. Thank you very much, both.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thanks.